Hotel. Just wanted to do a review on the Rachel Dolezal documentary that is on Netflix. Um, I found it very interesting. First of all, this should take no more than maybe 25 minutes or maybe less or so. Um, Everyone should be familiar with Rachel Dolezal. She is what people in the white dominated society as being um, transracial, right? Now, I watched the documentary actually for a second time to see if I was missing anything or whatever, and it's pretty much exactly what it was the first time. Um, One thing I did find very peculiar about Rachel Dolezal is that, first of all, she came from, of course, two white parents, so she actually is white. Everyone pretty much knows that. Secondly, she came from a two-parent home where she was sexually assaulted. Now, by one of her cousins. Now, the funny thing is that when she reported this to her family, they didn't care at all, and immediately she blocked them out of her mind. Now, as she got older, you know, thank you, Howard, the beer. Now, as she got older, she ended up getting married, and the person she got married to, they of course wanted to have two white kids originally, at least have one son specifically. She wanted to have a white son. Now, what happened was they couldn't afford to get white kids. And it's funny, on the adoption market, the least adopted children are black children. I just want to say African children. But they wanted white children. Now, the thing is that white children actually cost the most. They couldn't afford a white child. So she decided to get a black child. That immediately messed up her marriage to her white husband. Now, what was really funny was when she finally, she had her adopted son, and she ended up adopting three more children. A lot of people didn't know that she adopted two more boys and a black daughter. So she adopted all black children because they were the cheapest. And at some point in the documentary, you find out that the black child, the daughter, was molested by the same cousin that sexually assaulted her. Now, when she reported this to her parents, her white parents, they were like, "So what? They niggas. Are you serious?" And at that point was when she mentally flipped. She mentally flipped, and that's when she started doing black things. What she did was she actually infused herself in with her black children. So she began to identify racially as being black. So then after that was when she started, she went to Howard University, did the whole thing, and wanted the whole black experience by going to an HBCU. And in the process, as I said earlier, she basically disowned her parents because of two situations where the sexual assault, neither one of them they really cared about. First it was her, then it was her black daughter. And the thing is that she ends up going to the HBCU, which is Howard, of course, in DC. And she ends up, I don't want to say being adopted, but she ends up getting like a black male father figure. Because if you look at the documentary, it says father figure. It doesn't say father. And this is a black male. He's kind of an elder, and he's in the documentary, and if you look at it, she's talking to him, and she's saying, "Oh man, I wish we all could just be human and not have to be called this and not have to be called black or white or this or that." And this is what she's saying to him. Now again, I remind you, this is a black man who looks like he's about late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, Howard, it's on Netflix now. So then he says the exact same thing. He's like, "Yeah, I wish we could all get to that point and just be human." Now I remind you, this is a black man in America under the system of white domination. And wow, and it was pretty deep because again, also there's sisters because she was also a part of NAACP at some point, and she was excommunicated from NAACP, and the sisters that was around her and that she was working with, they pretty much ostracized her because she was a notorious and pathological liar. They caught her in a lot of lies, and one thing that they didn't like about her was like, okay, so basically you felt it necessary because you adopted black kids that made you honorary black, and they were pretty pissed off, and the black woman had every right to be pissed off. There's nothing but black women that they were interviewing saying, look, she's full of crap. And there was one part in there, if you it's towards the end. This was around the time when she was doing the demonstrations with Black Lives Matter. And what she decided to do, rather than put herself, like, some of the demonstrations, they lay down and they, or they sit down. So she took her 3 black children and she had them lay down rather than she lay down. And it was kind of funny because most of the people that was in the Black Lives Matter marches were black women. And they were all looking at that, and they had very disgusted looks on their faces, and they've been every right to be disgusted because you're using your children as like these demonstrations. Like, see, this makes me black. I'm a nigga now, so I got black kids, and they demonstrating with me. It's like, wow, this is deep. She's very deep, but it's sad because what it does is it still goes back to what white privilege is. See, white privilege is basically basically white people have the right to do whatever they want to do in America and really in the world. But the fact that she could get up one day and say, you know what, I don't want to be Caucasoid no more, I want to be Negro. And that's exactly what she did. And she's still doing it to this day. She's convincing herself that, no, I'm black. Because it was funny also, you have this part in there where she was on, I think it's not The View, but it's another show like The View, where she was on there and you had Tamar Braxton, and Tamar Braxton looking at her like, you full of shit. And I'm going to read the comments before I go any further. How it's like when white women parade their biracial children around. Yeah, exactly. What did Nife say? It takes more than HBCU education, braids, and mothering black children to be a black woman. Yeah, exactly. And that's the sad part. And I was saying this to someone else. I said, wow, it's a very deep documentary. Just look at the documentary. I know Rachel Dolezal she's just a cracker, but pay attention to it because it's really, when you watch movies like these, it's not so much about looking at a movie about a specific person, but you're in every movie there's a message that this director or this person, because it's a documentary, but there's a reason for this. So when you're looking at a documentary like this or a movie like this, there's a message that this individual is trying to say to the world. And whether it be the actor or it be the person that it's about that's actually in it, because it's her in it, it's her life, or just it's the director or the writer of the movie. And so you got to think, with all these trans situations going on, people are saying, you know what, I don't want to be this no more, I want to be this. And this is the next day change. And so that's exactly what she did. That's why I say to this day, black women, every black woman, if ever they get a chance to see Rachel Dolezal in person, they should walk up and punch her right in the face. Because it's like, how is it that you feel you can just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm a black woman now? Because again, going back to the whole interview she was on with Tamar, and Tamar asked her a question, and that's when she got quiet. So you think you're a black woman now, huh? And she got scared. She didn't know what to say. And it showed like, it's typical white people. When they get in a corner, they play the victim. She immediately played the victim. And then after Tamar kind of checked her, then you had the other sister on there. I don't know her name, but y'all know the name of the show. You have Tamar. You have the heavyset sister. Then you have, I think it's, what is her name? Tamara from Sister Sister. She's on it, and then you have the Asian woman or whatever, and she was on it. And the Heavyset sister, she made a good point. She was like, I don't, I think you're full of it, because this does not constitute you being a black woman. Do you know what it means to be a black woman? That's really the main question she asked her, and she just was like, she froze. So it's like, okay, so you're being disingenuous, and you have no integrity whatsoever. Nobody co-signs what you're trying to do or what you're doing now. Everybody knows you're full of crap. Even white, oh yeah, the real, thank you, Nife. And everybody sees you as full of shit, because you are. But it's no different than what's the guy's last name? King. King is a white man. King is not mulatto. He's not mixed. He is a. If anyone who's watching this has his first name, put it out there. But his last name is King. He wears glasses. He's in Black Lives Matter, but he's white. And if we're gonna sit here and beat down Rachel Dolezal, then we should be beating him down as well, because he's not a black man whatsoever. And there are black men who have died in movements and who have actually fought. The brother that's from out of St. Louis, he ends up getting found in his car, and he was shot to death and whatnot. And no one mentions his name. I can't even remember the man's name, and I totally apologize for that. But just the fact that all of a sudden this man put in work, this black man really put in work during the time of Ferguson, for Mike Brown, and he dies, no one mentions his name, but because I remember his name now, Sean King, who we know subconsciously really is a white man, all of a sudden now we love Sean King because he's a white man. And that's the truth. But the Rachel Dolezal documentary was really, it was funny at certain parts, and also was very sad because, thank you, Chris Cleaver, Sean King, thank you so much for that, fam. He just said it, Sean King. I was like, he's so irrelevant, I don't even remember his man's name. But they were interviewing, but they really weren't interviewing her children, Rachel Dolezal's children. What they were doing was, it was like they were just filming. And I think it was like her youngest son, not the oldest, but the youngest, because I think the oldest son just went off. I think he went to Howard as well, and he don't want no part of the situation at all, because the main thing that the children are saying to her is, you created a circus. You didn't have to take it here. You didn't have to take it this far with what you're doing. And she's like, I don't care. I'm doing it because I want to. I'm trying to prove a point, and I can be whatever I want to be. Yeah, of course, because you have white privilege. It's not about human anything. You know what you are. Because if you was anything else, just to say, if you was a black woman and you wanted to turn around and say, I'm tired of being black, I want white privilege, there's no way you can do that, and you couldn't. But you can wake up tomorrow and use white privilege. And that's exactly what she was doing. So it still speaks into the overall white-dominated society, where we still think that in some form racism has kind of lessened, but it still is the same rules. And there's always going to be rules that will apply to us as black people, as opposed to whites in society, where they can pretty much do whatever they want to at any given time. So I do recommend watching it for educational purposes. Eventually you will get tired of looking at Rachel Dolezal, and again, the hair she has, it's a freaking wig, and it's really, you should get punched in the face. I'm sorry, I'm not even advocating violence, but at the same time, she's full of shit, and it's just like, wow, it's really deep to watch. So yeah, I'm laughing, but it's really funny, and at the same time, it's sad, because again, black people have to wake up to the reality that yes, you do not have white friends. You're only here by yourself, and every once in a while, white people will exercise their right to white privilege in your face. And Rachel Dolezal is a prime example of that. So, yeah, hopefully this stays up this time, and I'll continue to do more Facebook Lives. So, Hotep, family, and Black Power.